सो गाइस आज लीग डे 6 चल रहा है अपना 25 फेब ये स्टार्ट हो गया
this entire fight itself. Kazi taking in a lot of damage. I'm not quite sure who is dealing the damage though, but Fresher, he still has a high ground advantage, but not quite utilizing it because Team Extreme EXE, they're smart. They're playing across those containers. Just look at that. Kazi taking down Fearless, and right now Fresher, he has been deemed useless at this point with the VSS. He definitely, as I said, he has a high ground advantage, but Team Extreme EXE, they're not just giving any line of sight to Fresher. Fresher can't just utilize his positioning at this point, and all that he can do is swat Nitrox as well as his other teammate, Fearless, fall to their graves because they're kind of stuck in a very obscure position, Mamba. Without any cover, I guess Team Extreme EXE can capture this fight even before it starts.
Yep, and talking about Fresher, he's just standing there in the middle of nowhere, making sure that he stays alive. But look at Fearless, so I don't think he's going to survive this fight, and he's going to fall down. The nade coming in, Kazi knowing that Fearless was low, throws in that nade, gets a knock for himself. Fresher needs to push in. Is he going to be able to save his teammate? I think he can actually. He does have solid cover to work with, but at the same time, he's being pushed. 77 AMD, making sure that he does not give enough time to the opposition, but the chrono shield being popped off so quickly. It felt like it was a balloon, but he is going to go after him. He smells blood. He wants blood. Ambush Esports, the first team to be eliminated in the second map. Double kill.
I mean, I said for a fact the fight is going to end even before it starts. Fresher's position, I'll say for the third time, it was completely deemed useless. Team Extreme EXE, they were so smart and intellectual about the gameplay. They knew for a fact that there's a guy who is having a high vantage point and he can actually take us down if we try and rush in. They didn't do that. They played in cover of the containers and in tandem with their group as well as his teammates, and that just worked out so well. They got two players off guard out in the open and they just focused all their attacks on him. Fearless, or rather it was Fresher, who was completely ignored at that point, and when they got two kills, they knew for a fact that Fresher couldn't really do anything about him. Team Xenon, they find themselves right in front of another team, that is team number 1. The fight is definitely not breaking out as of now. Team Cyanide, they have already lost a player early on, and it was Team Xenon, I believe, who actually got the kill for themselves. But MVP though, we have to talk about this player, Fireman, the way he created space for his team, Mama. It was just so good to watch. I remember the circle not being on Team Cyanide. Fireman flushing out those grenades with the grenade launcher, creating the space. That is how you brute force your way into the circle, and Fireman was the guy to do the job.
Yep, he was definitely the one to do the job for his team, and when you have so many kills to work with, who else could be the MVP? Because it's a team effort, sure, but then again, we have individual moments, individual spurts of brilliance where players just step up. And I still remember Agent DXP had a player who went on to get 8 kills for himself in one match, and that's a lot of kills. Yep, Jamil.
I mean, I'll never forget the player, to be honest, because the kind of performance he showed up that day. You might think that this is kind of outrageous, but I remembered the performance even while I was sleeping. I remembered every kill that he had. Eventually I forgot now, but the day the game happened, I couldn't sleep because that guy was monstrous. I mean, I guess it happens with you as well. If you see something monstrous, you can't really sleep that night because every time it just keeps on playing in your head. Something of that same sort happened with me. But the circle, Mamba, is pretty trivial. A very ordinary purgatory circle, to be honest, which has Brasilia at its heart, for sure. I'm not quite sure where it's going to close in because yesterday we saw that the circle closing in on the riverside, which definitely makes the game much more interesting. But if it shifts towards campsite or something towards fields, I guess we can see a lot of bodies fall very early on because there isn't really a lot of compounds to play with. Teams will be forced to flush out their glue walls as well as all their resources, and those teams, they're not going to last very long. So that can also be a possibility, but what I can say is that 50%, there is a 50% chance that the circle is going to end up in Brasilia.
Yep, there is a 50% chance that the circle is going to end up in Brasilia. That is for sure. But if you talk about Electro, they only have a kill. All the 4 players alive though, which is a good thing because then you can go on and play the long game. And towards the end especially, have that extra set of eyeballs which are going to help you cover the flanks, be an entry frag if you want. And all in all, just scout area for you. You have more area being, surveillance. So you just want to make sure that the entire team stays alive and you can use 4 players in the most creative ways possible, Salty.
Absolutely. But this fight, though, Team Electro, they will find themselves in a very obscure position. They do have a Rish to play with, but they're taking the long route. They're taking the route from inside the blue circle because they know for a fact that if they try and take those rotation out in the open, they might get fired down. And that is exactly what I think is the right strategy at this point. Taking the long route, taking a little bit of damage from the blue circle isn't really a bad idea as long as you're safe and rotating inside the circle. They will have to loop in all across the circle and probably try and enter it from a different direction completely. But for the teams who are inside the circle, there is a lot of spacing in between them. We still have 11 teams to work with and 41 players still alive. So definitely the second circle has enough space to host all of these teams and all of these players. But when the circle closes in, out in the open, inside the compounds, look at that circle. That is one nutty circle, to be honest, Mamba. It shifts completely away from Brasilia. Campsite is out of the game. Team Extreme EXE, they will have a hard time rotating in. Look at Team Electro though. They're still trying to hug the blue circle. They will try and take down Mask Nibble because he is definitely one form of resistance that they might face, but getting inside the circle is going to be a pain. Thankfully though, most of the teams are already inside the circle and they can actually play with it. But look at Team Infinity's position as well. They are playing it across the riverbank, and I'm not quite sure how they will use their position, but GB2L getting another kill for them. I guess the kills will start popping off, Mamba. From this particular circle onwards, we are going to see a lot of kills coming in.
Yep, that is for sure. We're going to see a lot of kills coming in because the sheer number of players alive. 40 players alive with 11 teams and only 7 minutes of gameplay left. So we're going to see a lot of action in the next couple of minutes, that is for sure. But GB2L, they don't want to stop. They want to keep on taking those shots and break the glue walls, the chrono shield, make sure that the utility is up and Flaps. He's not going to stop. He's going to make sure that he keeps on taking those pot shots, but not a lot of utility is going to be left onto Electro. And GB2L just being as aggressive as they can, and I love it. I love the intent. I love the idea, and more than everything combined, I love the execution.
Absolutely, but Fleps, he has to fall back because he knows for a fact that Team GB2L, they're completely spread apart. There is no trade potential in between them. Alpha, though, confirms a kill, confirms a knock from long distance with a sniper rifle, but Cheetah, just look at that. The grenade completely obliterates Team Xenon, and definitely I would have loved to see the grenade come in, but Skylip, though, takes down Electro Saf. Team Electro is having a hard time fighting against Team GB2L in spite of the fact that they're so spread out. Xenon, they've been completely eliminated elsewhere in the map, but talking about this fight, Mamba, I mean, I'm surprised for a fact that in spite of the fact that Team GB2L are covering so many different angles, Team Electro, they're having a hard time taking those fights. Yes, definitely the blue circle plays a part because they're forcing their way in inside the circle using the glue walls, but just have a look at it. Fleps, he's still trying to push in as many lead as he can against Team Electro, and only one player still survives. I guess this is going to be an easy squad wipe for Team GB2L. They've got 3 kills already. Shuvo is probably the last man who is still standing on his feet, Mamba. I mean, I'm not quite sure what are your thoughts, but I feel that this was really well executed from Team GB2L.
That is true, that was well executed. I did bring it up, the way they played was really, really good, but right now GB2L is definitely struggling. We have Shuo, who's causing a lot of troubles. Gets the first kill, can he find the second as well? Does connect a headshot, but the trade is going to come in. Dark Cruise is going to finish him off, and GB2L only losing on one player in this entire fight. I think that's a fair trade. But they need to go inside the zone. Flaps is going to get knocked down once again. The question is he going to survive? We have a lot of first aid kits onto Dark Cruise, but Flaps needs to heal. He's not going to be able to survive that fight, and they've realized that. Now, Dark Cruise is going to go in. He's going to try and revive his teammate. This is, I love this. I love this. The fact that, look at this. Look at the, oh my goodness, the healing gun coming into the play. Dark Cruise making sure that he had enough HP, and this could be the clutch. This could definitely be the clutch which gets them to Booyah, because one player could mean all the difference in the last circle.
You know what, Mamba? I remember the first match of the tournament. I'll talk about it a bit later, I guess. If this fight breaks out Team XP as well as Team Infinity, this can be a really, really important fight. Team Infinity, they didn't really have a very good game in the first match. They did get a lot of kills, but not enough positioning to make use of that. And now they find themselves in a very weird spot. They're outside the circle. The gatekeeping Team XP, who is coming in outside the circle as well. And I'm not quite sure how that works, because gatekeeping is only profitable when you are inside the circle and your opposition isn't. But team number 2, that is Team Infinity, neither they are inside the circle nor the opposition. So certainly things can go fishy if their strategy doesn't really work out. But I was talking about the first game of the tournament, Mamba, where I remember one player from Team One Man, that is Mola, he went in and revived two of his players from a very outrageous position, and that team went on to win the game just because of the fact that they have 4 bodies still alive. Had he given up on that particular situation on his teammates, he wouldn't have got the first booyah in the tournament. So that was one moment that I still remember, and I kind of felt like teamwork is really, really important, and that was visible over here. Team GB2L, they got all their players alive on their foot, but eventually...
Yep, but if you talk about Tio, Kunok is going to be taking a couple of pot shots at the opposition. 7 teams, 23 players up on the server, 4th zone coming in, and Agent or Nob is going to find a frag on Lukazi, so that is going to open things up for them as well. But Agent staying alive over here is definitely a big plus for themselves, because they have the potential to go out there and get a high kill count. We've seen that happen before, and that does definitely give them a push. But then once again, you'll only be compared to 5 other teams and not 11. So not a lot of pressure that way onto the teams, that even if you're in the top 3, top 5, chances are you're going to actually top your table. But ultimately the goal should definitely be to get the booyah, but Sadness is going to find a frag for himself. Nobody is going to get knocked out. Shriek is the one knocking him out. Kingsman almost being taken down over there, but he's going to be revived. The nade going in now. This. Oh my goodness! 1 nade, 2 kills. How about that?
That was perfect cooking, Mamba. That is how you cook the meat of the grenade, of course. But this is going to be Team Agents or Nob, and Zishan is going to be the one who will confirm the kill on Spartan. And now we're left with only 5 teams and 18 players to work with. Team Jawbreakers, they've had such a splendid run of form since the first game today, and this team looks unbreakable. They were playing across the wall, and that is a very good position to hold, especially in this circle of purgatory. But look at that Hamim tanking so much damage from the play zone. He gets taken down by the play zone itself. This is not good news for Team XB. Baby Girl and Ali are the only 2 players who are still alive. Team One Man comes in from behind them. This can be very, very dangerous for them. Look at that Team Agent though. Even they are backstabbing Team One Man, and this can be deadly, because so many teams in so many directions. It is going to be very hard for the players, especially to keep a track of where your teammates are going to come in. Team Agent, they will still try and push forward. They know the fact that they have to take care of Team One Man first, but Team Extreme EX, they take down 2 players. They take down the entirety of Jawbreakers. Not really, because Naim Alam is going to capture 2 kills for his team, and he's going to eliminate Extreme EX completely. Sabir though, he takes down Sadness, and so many kills pop off from Team Agent EXP. They're dominating, Mamba. They're absolutely dominating.
That is true. They've been dominating really, really well, and that is what you expect from a team of this caliber. 5 kills for themselves, all the players alive, and Jamil in the open. He doesn't care. He's not scared. He knows that he's going to live to fight another day. Gets 1 kill. Actually knocks down Zisan. Kidding me? He gets that shot through the glue wall. I don't know how he does that. I don't know how he has the confidence to do that, or the anticipation. But that last shot was so good, and I was actually holding my face when I saw that shot. I was literally holding my face because that was that good.
I mean, I talked about how Agent, they don't really go aggressive right from the get-go. We saw that in the first match. They tried to go aggressive early on, and they kind of suffered for that. But in this game, there are only 3 kills coming into the 5th or the 6th circle. And that just goes to show that this team, they prefer trying to be calm and collected when it actually matters. They know how to step up their gears. And when they do so, this team, they turn unbeatable. And we saw how they took down Jawbreakers, a team that was so good in form. They had such a good position to work with. Team Agent, they just walk into the circle, they walk in front of the opposition and take them down. They're like, alright, I'm going to take you